Oh. Impressive.
Yeah. That took 12 hours.
I'm like, dang, I feel like we're like pro production company here.
Yeah, no, when I say I'm taking the review thing seriously, I'm taking the review thing seriously. Okay, like I mentioned before, an upvote is 1, a downvote is -1. We're going to tally our scores up at the end of the show, and we're going to give you an official Popcast score, and we would like to know what your score was. So as we go, please track your own score, upvotes, downvotes, and see how close you are to our opinion. Okay?
Yes.
All right. Here we go. It's
Woo.
Strange New Worlds, Season 1, Episode 2, Children of the Comet. And I would like to preface this with, boy, and I'm going to give this an upvote. Boy, did this remind me of classic Trek. There was no world-ending, universe-ending problems. I guess one planet was definitely at risk. But the stakes weren't so high that it required the entire Federation to convene and start debates on what to do.
We didn't have the entire armada there. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Right. It was a mission. It was a mission for the Enterprise and the crew, and the whole show was based on how they dealt with it. And I really appreciated that. Just like last week. So far, what we're getting is very classic Trek, and wow, what a strong opening 2 episodes. So, Shane, what'd you think? What'd you think your overall premise of this was before we get into the linear part of it?
Yeah, once again, it's it's kind of a return to the kind of Star Trek that we want. It's episodic. We come into this episode feeling very much like a traditional, Star Trek TOS, TNG, Voyager type episode. I got to tell you, I actually, and I'd like to give this a point up. The opening title sequence, I actually watched it a second time. Typically, when these new shows come out, Picard and Discovery, I just skip the music. I skip I watch it once and I'm like, oh, that's okay. But I didn't love it. Not since Enterprise have I just wanted to watch over and over the opening title sequence song and graphics. So,
Yeah. I even like the new Star Trek Sting. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
You didn't bite on my joke. So.
Oh, what was the joke?
Not since Enterprise have I wanted to watch the opening intro song over and over and over. Usually bite on it.
You know why I didn't bite on that, Shane? Because I know you actually love the Enterprise theme.
I do love it. Right. But actually, Star Trek Voyager is probably one of my favorites.
I'm going to give you a downvote for that. Okay.
You just downvoted Strange New Worlds because of me, and I love that. No, seriously, Voyager was my favorite opening. One of my favorite openings. Yeah, I think I like TNG, but Voyager is very explorative. Yeah. And also Strange New Worlds the same way as explorative. It's got really beautiful music. So I thought that was really great.
Yeah, and I also like the new Star Trek Stinger, like the super bright colors and all that.
Yeah, that was cool. Where it like winds around. And,
yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, that was neat.
Okay, so we get into this, and what's going on here is there is a comet heading to a planet. This is the planet. Looks like a desert planet. It's like Tatooine or something. I don't know what. I don't have another version.
Oh my God, it's Star Wars again. Yes.
I don't have another example of like a desert planet. So
are the Tusken Raiders going to pop out here any second?
Yeah, this is the Tusken Raider planet. And apparently this comet is heading on like a crash course for this planet, and it's just going to wreck the planet, right?
Right.
And we got a little shot of the aliens. The aliens look great, by the way. I gotta get.
I thought the same thing.
Another
we need to give that one a point up because not for me, but I'll take your point up.
Okay.
But I did think the same thing.
So often in Star Trek, and this is going back all the way to the 50s. I feel like a lot of the makeup is focused on individual parts of the face, And what we're seeing now in Strange New Worlds is it's their hands. We, in fact, to be honest, to give Discovery a little bit of a point, we saw it with Saru. We saw an alien that looked truly alien. Yes, it was still bipedal and it was still humanoid, but it wasn't just a person with a couple of prosthetics on its chin. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we're seeing that that continue with Strange New Worlds. Their eyes look different. Yeah, of course they have prosthetics on their face and they have similar noses, but their hands are scaled and it just looks good. They look like an alien species. We've never seen this alien species, but it makes sense because they're pre-warp. So,
can I also mention? I want to mention I was a little concerned about what was going to happen with the log entries at the beginning of each episode, and we knew that going into Strange New Worlds they were going to kind of get away from the captain's log, and it would be a different log entry from different people. So the first episode we had Pike, and this episode we had Uhura. I'm going to say it right. Uhura. Oh, it's very hard for me to do.
Uhura.
People are like, why don't you say it right? I'm like, well, that's how I say it. Uhura. And I thought it was actually a nice setup. It didn't feel awkward not being the captain. And I was kind of curious about how I would feel it not being a captain's log and being somebody else. And it felt pretty natural, actually.
Yeah, I like that. The planet gave, Question of Trek said the planet gave me Stargate vibes. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Probably because, I love Stargate, you know that. But every planet there was only 3 types of planets that they went to. It was either a
there's only so many atmospheres on Earth to shoot on. Yeah.
Right. It was either a desert planet, which they shot in the Mojave Desert, or it was like a forest planet, which they shot somewhere in Canada, right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Or
what? Yeah.
Or all right. Or very rarely we got like an ice planet, Very rarely. 99% of the time it was either forest or desert. It was a couple times we saw something like a very unique atmosphere, but most of the time it was one of those planets. Sure. And that's fine. I get it. There's only so many places you can shoot. But that I remember watching Stargate thinking like, did we already go to this planet or? Because it looks exactly the same. All right. So this Comet though, it's flying through and, I like the way it actually opened with Uhura too. I like this Uhura.
I do too.
Like I like her a lot. I think she's believable. She's, I don't want to say cute, but she has like that quality where it's like, I'm smart, I'm young, I'm green, but I'm eager to learn. She has all the qualities that like the original Uhura had as someone playing a young version of that character, and it works. Right. I also love these uniforms. The dress uniforms are sick. Like
they look really good. In fact, I want to give a thumbs up. I want to give a upvote here for Ortega's actually hazing Uhura.
Okay.
I love that. It's nice to see you can still mess with people in the future and everybody's not all butthurt about it. I do not believe Discovery would have probably allowed some sort of hazing incident to occur where we're making somebody feel out of place or bad.
No.
And I like that they actually went with that here, and they use the what we're going to eventually find out to be the LGBTQ character to do it. So
yeah, it would have been very problematic.
It would have been not nice, and we would have had some sort of mental distress over it.
Yeah, the ship probably would have overheard them, and the ship would have gotten upset and stressed out, and tried to explode itself, and in an act of self-deletion. And then of course the ship's doctor's gonna have to talk the ship down. No, don't do it. People love you.
Well, and I love that Uhura just went with it. She could have went back inside and changed, but no, Ortega's didn't give her that option. And so they went forward with it, which I thought was cool.
Yeah. You can't be late to the captain's dinner, which I love. Speaking of the captain's dinner, I love the fact that the captain is cooking dinner. That's awesome.
He's a grill master, dude. You got no other option but to like it.
Dude, I am straight simping for Captain Pike. I love everything about this dude. I love his hair. I love his whole attitude. I love his whole air, his command, his presence.
Yes.
And now he's a grill master. Oh my God. No wonder why my wife loves this show. By the way, the very first Star Trek in 20 years of marriage that I've shown my wife that she actually liked. She watched the first episode and she was like, "Oh, okay. Oh, I like that. Put the next episode on." I'm like, "There is no next episode. It's next week." All right. This was like a
He's
few days
spoiled
ago.
by streaming.
And she's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "This is a brand new show." He goes, "Oh, we have to wait now?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh, finally there's a Star Trek I like and I have to wait every week to watch it?" I was like, "Yeah, but that's how it works."
That's how television used to be. She's not that old. Come on, or she's not that young. Come on.
Yeah, so she no wonder why she likes the show, because Anson Mount is a straight stud. It didn't hurt too that like in the very first half of last week's episode, swole Spock is walking around with his shirt off.
Oh yeah, there you go. Sexy Spock.
Yeah, talk about a great scene for literally everyone in the room. Okay, between T'Pring and Spock, all the boxes were checked.
Yeah, time to shut the door.
Right. We finally get interaction with Hemner. How do you feel about this?
We meet Hemner. It was interesting that we meet Hemner in this kind of scenario where he's cutting something and they have this weird thing where Uhura is blind, or he's blind. Uhura recognizes it and he kind of makes an issue about it. So my notes here were kind of like, okay, so he's a little cranky, a little cocky actually, which I thought was interesting. He will eventually get my upvote in a couple more scenes forward, and I'll tell you about that in a second.
So I actually like this because, and I'm going to give it an upvote, because this scene, it showed her like, "Oh, well, let me help someone who's clearly disabled." And he's like, "Hey, back off, dude. I'm not disabled."
Right. Yeah, it was a good introduction to the character and his core. It was a great way to just like give you who the character is in 30 seconds.
Yeah. And the great thing about this is not like, oh, there's a disabled person that works on Starfleet and we're doing this to be inclusive. No. He doesn't have sight, so he's playing a disabled person, but that is his superpower. It's not a weakness. It's not for the sake of being inclusive. It's to show how unique people can be and aliens can be. That's very cool. This
is not an inclusive. Yeah, anybody who's cranking up the inclusive meter because we got a blind person or a blind character, that's not what this is. There was an opportunity to, even further alienate this character. And as you can tell, he does not feel at all. In fact, he said something to the effect of, "Oh yeah, my other senses are far superior." Right. Meaning they're far superior to you humans. So, which I thought was quite interesting.
To you pesky humans.
Right. Spock and him do a good job tag teaming his introduction here.
Yeah, I love that they brought a character from that we were introduced to in Enterprise to the show.
Yeah, well, you mean the albino and Andorian, yeah.
Yeah, he has there's actually a name for his race.
I know, I didn't write it down.
I forgot what it was called. But yeah, basically the albino I'm blind on Andorians.
Yeah.
That was in that concept was introduced in Enterprise.
They're the Anars.
Anars.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're actually seeing some interesting stuff in Enterprise. We actually saw the NX-01 model last week in his ship, the exact same Archer. And of course, the name of the ship was called Archer. So a lot of Enterprise vibes here, which is awesome. Okay. Yeah, we got the tag team thing, blah, blah, blah.
I like that Uhura kind of bounced back at him, too. She didn't just take it. She gave a little bit of attitude back. And, of course, he liked her as a result. So
equal footing. All right, the captain's sharing a story about something that went poorly, and it's supposed to be, someone got hurt, and everyone's laughing, and Spock is confused as to why it's funny when someone got hurt.
And I think that's definitely a vote up for me. So you can tick that one up for me. This was very traditional, very, very traditional TOS Spock. Jokes going around, and he just doesn't get it. And I thought Ethan Peck played that off really well. And it felt very genuine to me.
Yeah. And he pays it off later in the episode, which is great.
Yes.
Which we'll get to. That's when he explains, sometimes things are going so badly, you just have to laugh, which, it's a very human thing to do. Which was pretty much you earlier this week.
Right.
All right. Let's get past this dinner scene. Unless you want.
Well, just real quick, one more thing in here. They do a good job with Uhura's backstory, and so I want to give them another vote up. Okay. I'd like to give another vote up because the fact that we find out that she knows 36 different languages, and everybody just kind of reacts to that around the room, and it's like, oh, holy cow, he throws out a first number which is like 12 language. I can't remember what he said, 12, 24. He's like, well, it's actually 36, and everybody's kind of like, what? Because it just kind of shows that she's just not there on the bridge. She's earned, she should be here. She's smart, she's intelligent, and it really fleshes out that backstory, which we really never knew.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I always assumed that the original Uhura must have known a lot of languages considering her job, but
well, we can assume all we want, but it's assumption. And so once they actually give us the story, then it's just better.
That's true. Okay, so so this whole dinner scene was very good, very Trek. Enjoyed it very much.
And we should just mention that the reason why, because there are some people who can't see the show because it's not airing overseas. So let's just go ahead and say that Uhura's backstory is that her parents were killed, also as well as her older brother, and she ended up living with her grandma, who was in Starfleet previously. And since Uhura didn't know what else to do, she ended up just joining Starfleet because that's what her grandma did.
Right, and she did mention too that she is not really like rah Starfleet.
She didn't say that though, and I got a bone to pick about that.
Interesting. She didn't say that.
She did not. All she said was she didn't really know what else to do, so she joined Starfleet.
Well, okay, so on the planet's surface or the comet's surface, she does say like she wasn't very interested in Starfleet at one point.
No. All right. Watch. We'll see. You keep going here. Spock. Okay. Spock tells her something that I don't agree with.
Okay. Now we get this scene where Pike is talking to number one, and they're addressing the fact that he knows he's going to die, but it's worth it for him because he knows the people he's going to save in the process, which is a very valiant thing to do. What do you think about this whole scene?
I mean, we addressed this in the first episode, so I do feel like it was a little bit more kind of a retread of the same thing. I didn't quite want to give it a downvote because I do want to learn more about it. We do find out that apparently, he saved these 4 kids.
Right.
And he knows their names, so he knows it's real. I mean, the one thing that we should talk about, I did put in here to speak about it, is something that they don't talk about in the first episode is that Pike keeps talking about how he experienced his own death. Okay. The reality is, though, he did not die. If you go back to TOS, we know he's in further episodes when Spock ends up trying to take him back to Talos, so that he ends up spending the rest of his life in an illusion of an actual life with the woman he fell in love with on that planet. Right. So we know that his ending is not necessarily he doesn't die per se. He doesn't know his death. And so there's something that either the writers have made a mistake here, which I just don't believe that's the case, or they're intentionally keeping the fact that he didn't see everything. He only saw up to a certain point, which was his injury itself, and he's associating with himself dying. So he has misinformation on what's about to happen to him, even though he experienced it.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't know I guess maybe he thinks that he. No, you're right. So he didn't die.
He didn't die. He actually goes on to have somewhat of a happily ever after.
And he knows he didn't die. So,
But he doesn't know that. That's what I'm saying. I believe this version of Pike up till now, whatever the vision that he saw, I think he's assuming that he dies.
Interesting.
So, and that's what this character knows. The audience actually has more information on what's going to happen to him than he really does.
Interesting.
And so they keep having this entire process of, she keeps saying, and I think that was the whole point of this episode, was you can change your fate. You can, maybe you can make decisions to change what happens. And he just doesn't believe it yet. So I think that's the process we're heading to.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. All right. So this is when they call him to the bridge and they explain the deal with the comet. Now it's going to hit the sentient people, and they can't move the comet, blah, blah. So this is where it gets interesting. They try to blow the comet out of the water, per se.
Okay.
And
no, they're not trying to blow it out of the water. No, they're trying to move it.
Well, they're trying to shoot it.
Well, they're shooting it, but they're trying to redirect it.
Okay.
They actually scienced it up, which I thought was really great. They actually explained how they were going to do it. And they were going to use 4, so each one of the crew members, and I love this, they went around the bridge and everybody got a little bit of input. And it was La'an who said to use the torpedoes. And everybody had like a different idea. Spock said we can use this to push it. So they weren't going to blow it up. They were just going to move it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but when they tried to shoot it, to move it, it threw up shields.
Yes, which was cool because now I'm like, well, okay, so can I have oh, you know what? We missed my thing. I'm sorry. So the Spock thing, we kind of went over, we passed it.
All right.
So Spock tells Uhura, as he's walking out of the captain's dinner, he basically chastises her. And he tells her, I wanted to join Starfleet my whole life. I dreamed about joining Starfleet. If you're not 100% on board for Starfleet, then maybe you shouldn't be in it and give somebody else room. Give somebody else an opportunity. Which I was not, and I would give a downvote at this point.
Okay, downvote away.
Because I don't believe that that was not the impression that they gave us, that she didn't want to be in Starfleet or she wasn't sure she wanted to be in Starfleet. Everything we've seen up to this point was she seems to be having a good time and everything seems to be going well.
Right.
And that was a really wild assumption for Spock to make based on the fact that her story didn't include, well, I wanted my whole life to be in Starfleet and I just couldn't wait. And the moment I got there, we got to remember Spock's backstory is not, he didn't want to be in Starfleet his whole life. That I recall, it was, he made a choice about, and there's different versions of it, but he made a choice to not become, part of the Vulcan Science Academy and to join Starfleet instead.
Right.
So he had some ambiguity there as well. So I just didn't feel like that was exactly a good thing.
I'm not giving it a downvote because I actually think I like this annoyed version of Spock, where he seems to be annoyed with everyone around him.
I'm okay with that a little bit, but I just didn't like the fact that we as the viewers were not given the impression that Uhura is somehow ambivalent about being in Starfleet, and yet he's acting like she is.
Maybe it was that scene that where he said that is where I thought that. Maybe there was no actual...
Yes, they planted it into you. Yes, 100%. It was not given. And that's kind of a little bit, the original reviews, when we talked about episodes 1 through 5, there are elements where there is still some element of tell instead of show happening in this series. And we're going to see a few of that in this episode.
Okay. Interesting. So on that note, they shoot the Comet. It throws shields up. So that was interesting. Also, the shields have the same triangular look as the Soon shields, by the way.
Don't go there.
I'm not going to go there.
That's coincidental. Yeah, I'd like to give this a vote up because I thought immediately they introduced some element of intrigue and mystery. Like, hey, comets aren't supposed to have shields, man. And so immediately I'm like zoned in and I'm totally completely focused on what's about to happen.
I really wanted to give it an upvote, but then I saw the Soon shields and I couldn't. So.
They're not Soon shields.
Whatever. It looks a lot like Soon shields to me. Yeah, and they said puts up a force field. I don't know. Why did he say force field?
What else is it?
A shield. Shields
a force
up.
Field. A force field is a shield.
I know, but I don't know.
It's not a Starfleet shield.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever heard the whole like shields versus force field thing. They've always said shields, but
they have, yeah.
All right. So, so technically that was weird. A little bit, right?
I mean, it wasn't weird. I mean, have they ever talked about a force field with something alien? Maybe. I can't go back and know for sure. But when they talk about their own thing, they say shields up or, or
deflectors up. Yeah.
Deflectors. Yeah. So, I'm not going to be that nitpicky.
Okay. I just got like Star Wars vibes when he said that.
Well, okay, maybe.
Because they always say force fields. And
that's true. I guess I've never really cared that much or thought about it specifically.
So they're trying to communicate with the Comet. It's not happening. They've tried every single hail, every scan they could think of, and they got nothing. Bupkis.
I do like the fact that this was 10 minutes in. So for the first 10 minutes, we got like character back drama, character introduction, character depth, all this development. And then like right at the 10-minute mark is when they go in. So it's like, you know, you're spending a very small portion of the show actually dealing with this sort of crew thing. And it's very reminiscent to me to TNG and kind of the way they used to do their episodes.
All right. So is that an upvote?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's an upvote. Yes.
See, I'm not going to give it an upvote because that's the way it should be.
But I'm giving them an upvote because they didn't have to do that. So for me.
Okay. That's fair.
The other shows didn't do that.
Yeah. And they all got downvotes.
Are we up to Hemner in the bridge?
What's that?
Are we at Hemner in the bridge yet?
They're talking about the surface of the comet, or it's like a planet or whatever. And they got
this was cool. I like this.
Yeah, they got a beam to the surface, and they're gonna take the new cadet because she's the only one there with the skills.
I like that they did the ready room. They had a round table type of discussion. Pike wanted everybody's feedback. Very good leadership.
Yeah, I love that. I love that we're back to that. I gotta be honest though. I don't know. Is Uhura the only person on the ship that is capable of linguistic whatever?
Well, I believe Lieutenant Kirk was also brought to do xenophobic, something to do with studying the foreign alien,
right,
planets or whatever. So I think it was a combination of, she is the communications officer, so made sense. I mean, who else are you going to send?
Yeah, I feel
you don't have like a bunch of linguistic people on board.
I feel like the showrunners really wanted to include Uhura in the show, but they knew they couldn't make her like an officer right away because it wouldn't fit the canon. But it does feel weird that there's a cadet as a bridge officer, and she's like seemingly the only person on the ship with these capabilities. That seems a little odd to me.
Well, she is. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm not even sure if it really affects canon that much. And what do we know as a cadet? Is she in her last year at the academy? What version? And that's something that we don't really fully understand. What version is she, like Wesley Crusher coming back, to hang out on the Enterprise and work for a summer? We don't really know what's going on. She was stationed here on the Enterprise as a cadet, which does seem interesting. I think it probably would have been better for her to be an ensign.
Right. It would have been easy. It would have been way better if she was ensign. They should have just said ensign because cadet is lower than ensign.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And as far as Wesley is concerned, I'm not gonna use him. But as far as Wesley is concerned, I always felt like that was a little bit of who kind of situation. He's not gonna be dropping on the bridge if he's not Crusher's kid,
Right. But after he went to the academy and he would come back to the Enterprise, she was actually posted here as a cadet. So I'm not exactly sure what that Starfleet protocol is for cadets being stationed on vessels. I know we saw a little bit of it in Picard.
Yeah, Elron jumped right. Yeah, he was answering. He was answering the phone call. Eleanor.
Yeah,
Eleanor was literally answering the call as the captain of the ship.
Yeah, so I don't think it's necessarily standard procedure, and maybe that is something that we don't quite understand. So it is a little bit out of the element, but they are trying to get her backstory. So the reason she's on this mission is basically to develop her character. This is the episode that develops Uhura's character, so that we kind of get an appreciation. And I'm assuming we'll obviously eventually she'll fully embrace wanting to be part of Starfleet. So
that's fair. All right, so her first away mission, right? She's going down there. This smoke show chapel.
What did you call her?
Smoke show. She's absolutely stunning nurse Chapel. I don't know what to tell you.
That was just unexpected. Yeah.
Absolute smoke show.
All right.
She inoculates everyone. I love this, by the way, that Kirk joins them.
Yeah.
Unless you have something to say, I'm going to skip to the comments.
I did. I did. So
go ahead.
I had a downvote. I'm sorry, an upvote.
Okay.
For Hemner on the bridge. And this was my earlier, I said, basically La'an's talking about what they need to do, to retrofit the the weapon so that they can move the asteroid.
Okay.
And he says, yeah, you're not the one that has to do it. Right. And it gave me like a Scotty vibe.
Right.
Like, you know, how Scotty was always like being asked to do things that nobody else could do and like being under pressure to do it. So and he is the engineer. So it gave me a very Scotty vibe. And that was definitely a thumbs up for me.
Yeah. Scotty is someone I grew up with. He was like a mentor as a tech person. He always had that old saying you used to tell. You told Jordy, he's like, always tell him it's going to take longer than it's actually going to take, so that when you get it done sooner, you look like the hero.
That's right. That's great. I love what Norman Buckwald said here, that he called her Retcon Chapel. I like that. So you call her Smoke Show Retcon Chapel because she's definitely getting more visibility than she ever did on TOS.
Yeah, and considering, I'm 100% okay with that.
And we get a little flirtation here with Spock, right? A little
flirtation, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Spock is not. She's flirting with Spock. Spock is not reciprocating.
No, he's oblivious.
Yeah, he's oblivious. All right, so on the surface. By the way, I'm gonna give this an upvote because this is a really cool scene. First off, the graphics are top notch. The whole Comet scene or whatever you want to call it is really cool.
Yeah.
The structure on the Comet, where it's sort of built into the Comet, really cool. This whole egg thing was really awesome. I almost wanted to give a downvote because I thought they were going to kill Sam Kirk right here.
Well, yeah, so that's funny. I was about to like say, wow, they're really going to go into this character. And then they almost redshirted him.
Yeah.
Like he had that moment. He was being a total redshirt. He like stepped up to the thing, right? And then he gets zapped, even though Spock's telling him, I sense danger, get down, right? Or whatever. And he's like, what? And he gets zapped like a red shirt.
No, it's fine.
It's cool, man. Look, it's cool. You know, so that was kind of funny. And I was kind of about to be like, I was about to actually say, wow, they've got like Star Trek really is changing things. They've got like a non-lead white male character that's like, that's actually going to be part of the cast. And like, he's going to be a part of things. Right. And then they kill him. But he's not dead. He's just down and out for the count. We're going to see him again. He's got a whole relationship coming with our future Captain Kirk.
Sorry, this is too perfect because you said a white character.
As white dudes, if you have a problem with that, you know where you can go.
It's just been kind of obvious and funny at the same time. So it was kind of, I'm like, hey, they're really going to roll with this Lieutenant Kirk thing.
Yeah, Discovery keeps like the new red shirt in Discovery is any straight white male.
That was the joke, right? Any straight white male was like the new red shirt. And
I remember
they would just
watching
kill him, or he was a total, douche or whatever.
I remember at the beginning of season 3, they introduced a character and it was like this white guy. I'm like, oh, he's dead. Within the first 5 minutes, he died.
Right?
Like it was instantaneous. Like, yeah, it's hilarious. I'm glad they didn't kill him though, because that would have been a big downvote for me. Not because I'm interested in the character or whatever yet, but because he's not supposed to die yet. Period.
Well, let me get an upvote just for the fact that they use the red shirt ideology to some degree,
right?
Which is a nice callback.
Yeah. So I'm glad they didn't kill him. But for a second there, I thought they just straight up killed Kirk right away.
I'm like, oh my god, they already killed him. It's not time yet.
That would have been both bold and bad at the same time. I'm like, wow, strong choice.
Right. I
love the tricorders, really cool. The tech is such a great upgrade. Like it looks like the old tech, but it's upgraded, and it's very hard to explain. Someone took the concept of the older devices they use in the TOS, and they just made better versions of those devices. And I like what you said in the video last week. They didn't make their version of the tricorder, their version of the ship, their version of the engine room. They made a better version of what we already know. They upgraded and made a version of, an upgraded, better version of the TOS tricorder's engine room ship, and not their version. This is not their version of the communicator or whatever. It's just an updated 2022 version. And I love that so much because
I do too, and
it makes me want to buy it.
Yeah, and if you can give me an upvote here, because I spent some time. I actually went back and forth with the transporter room, and the corridors, and I took a really good look at the wall panels, and I'm like, it's such a like TOS but upgraded thing, and I really appreciate that they did that for us.
I'm gonna give that up too because it's just too good. All right, so this gets interesting, and I'm gonna skip over to the shepherds now, if that's cool with you. Oh, wait, you want to talk about what's going on with her and Spock?
Well, I did want to say one more thing. I did feel, and I don't think it's quite enough for a downvote, but I did feel like the surface of a comet should be more chaotic when they landed on it. So it was very like almost landing on a planet.
That's fair. I mean, but it is artificial, right?
No, it's a comet. It just has some sort of AI attached to it, but it's an actual comet.
Someone built something into the comet, though.
Well, they built some sort of brain, I guess, for it, but we don't really know. But it definitely is a comet. I mean, like when they scan it, when they look at it, it's rock,
right,
and ice floating through space. So
super cool concept, by the way.
Yeah, and of course, it's reminiscent to the TOS episode where there was a comet full of people, and they were actually racing to their death, and Kirk and Spock came down there to try to help them. They were in the center of this comet. Now, this one didn't have any people on it, but it did have intelligence, which that comet did as well. So yeah. It was nice little homage to TOS.
That's fair. Okay. And we see more of these people. I love them. I love
good art. Yeah.
Yeah. Great aliens. So they got a planet full of people. They can't stop the ship. So they're trying to decode it, and they can't get close to it. And this is when they have that conversation between Spock and Uhura. Now Uhura does give her give him a little jab where she talks about Chapel being his girlfriend. He's like, "Excuse me?"
Yeah. So she does. Yeah. She just more good Spock. He doesn't realize that he's being flirted with. And the same thing would have happened with with Leonard Nimoy Spock.
Yeah. Another callback to sometimes things go so badly you have to laugh. That was good. That seems to be the theme of the episode, which is fantastic.
So he learned something from it. Yeah, that was interesting. Towards the end when he actually, and then there was a little bit, I was like, and there's canon for him being, laughing or being emotional at this point, but later on that'll need to change.
Yeah, I don't know if he was laughing because he actually felt humor. I think he was doing it over comms to agree with their point.
Pretty genuine laugh, but yeah.
I think that was meant for them, not for him.
Okay.
Because I thought the same thing. For me, they're like, why is he laughing? And then he's like, sometimes you have to laugh when things go really badly. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's like him understanding the human colloquialism, right?
He got it, finally, yeah.
Yeah, now the shepherds. Interesting. I really wanted to give him an upvote, but I think I'm going to give him a downvote.
I really wanted to give him an upvote, but I'm going to give him a downvote.
I really wanted to, but I don't like it when the prequels introduce a bunch of really powerful characters that we know nothing about. And these are clearly on the same footing as Starfleet here. I mean, they're in the same, they can take out the Enterprise, right? They can physically harm them, and they're close, and they're in the Alpha Quadrant. Why have we never seen these people before?
Oh, I think I can help answer that. And you got to remember that we ran into things in TOS that we never saw again. Powerful, very powerful things.
That's fair.
So it is possible to run into something that you never see again. But for these guys, it's a little better because they called them, comet monks or something to that degree. So it's possible that they really just spend their entire time following this comet or these comets that go around and do that. And that's why we probably would never run into them.
Shepherds. Okay. Now, you know what? I'll reverse it upvote because I can buy that.
Okay.
I can buy that.
You're welcome, Strange New Worlds. I just saved you from a Popcast downvote.
Yeah. Good job. I did like the characters, but I was like, the whole time I was thinking, we've never seen them before. But maybe they're from really far away and this one ship is following this comet.
I thought it was a nice joke that they included Spock Discovery Season 2 beard on this character.
Oh, he did have a beard.
It looks like it, huh? It looks like Spock from Season 2 of Discovery.
I thought it was like a helmet or something. Oh, yeah, it's a beard. I don't like that. He shouldn't have a beard. I'm going to go back
to the downvote.
I'm dropping the downvote again. That beard, that's not...
The beard's no good.
I know they're shepherds, guys, but not all shepherds have to have beards. That's all I'm saying.
Do monks have beards?
No. Damn it. Monks do have beards. I'm going to give it back.
I saved you again, Strange New Worlds.
Yeah. I don't like the way it looks, but I guess it fits the character, I guess. All right. So there's very interesting. I also like the fact that there's a sentient advanced species that they start with a warning shot and they have a conversation and they're trying to settle this without fighting.
Initially, yeah.
Like they're trying to be reasonable and they're trying to explain each other. Like, look, this is our holy thing. Like, don't touch it. Right. Back off. And that I understand their reasoning. Like their reasoning is like, so they're zealots or whatever, but their reasoning is like, we don't want to fight with you, but we don't want you touching our stuff.
Yeah.
And the captain's trying to explain his position, and the shepherd is saying, look, the Comet has never steered us wrong. It's going to do the right thing no matter what. And of course, Pike can't believe that it's a comet, right?
Right.
I love how by the time this ends, actually, it comes full circle, and they were sort of right the whole time. There was a plan, apparently. Yeah, some kind of plan. I'm not sure what it was, but that's a whole other thing we got to get into.
Oh, that'll be interesting to talk about in a minute.
Yeah. All right. So, he's trying to explain to him, hey, we got to protect the Comet, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no, get off. Get the Comet's going to be their tomb because the shields are up and they can't get off the Comet. Okay. Now, this is interesting. Uhura figures. What's that?
Are we to the music?
Yes. How do you feel about the music thing?
Okay, so I thought there was something good here that's an upvote. They work around a potential plot hole when La'an asks why they would make music. So she explains that it responds to her humming. Spock recognizes it responds to her humming. And so then she's like, oh, it's music. And then they start to talk about the music, right? And La'an asks, because she's kind of in the situation where she doesn't really understand what's going on. She asks, why would they make music like we do? Because, this is the understanding that we understand music, octaves, levels, right? And then Spock did a good job by explaining that music is math is universal. And I thought that was great because in previous shows, they might have left off this exposition and leaving us wondering the same question, like how come it's, different, but they actually take the time to science through it, which is something that we love about Star Trek.
And that is science. You want to upvote there? Yeah, I'm going to give it an upvote too, because that is actual science. When we send out our, right now in our present time, when SETI is sending out messages to deep space. Now, there's an argument that should say maybe they shouldn't be sending messages to deep space.
Maybe they shouldn't be letting people know we're here.
Yeah, maybe they shouldn't be letting everyone know where we're at. But either way, they're doing it, and the message they're sending out is mathematics and music for that same purpose. Music is mathematics, tones, octaves, like these are our words for it, but it does follow a mathematical principle, which is a universal. Mathematics is a universal language. So I did like that very much. And they started communicating. So what do you think about Spock's little pep talk?
I don't know. I'm just not sure it's necessary. I'm just the whole thing where they did not do a good job of making Uhura, and it already got my downvote earlier. They did not do a good job of making it seem like Uhura is on the fence with Starfleet. I just don't get that vibe from everything that's happening, and they're kind of forcing this into the storyline. And I'll be honest with you, they kind of failed at the beginning. They should have made her more like uncertain about being there, and they did nothing but really make the character pretty wonderful. And I just haven't gotten that vibe.
Yeah, maybe they should have been a little more clear that she likes it here, but this is probably a stepping stone for her onto something.
Yeah, it would have been good to have a comment where I'm not sure if I'm going to see it through. I'm not sure what I'm going to do from here, and maybe something happened in episode 1 that I'm forgetting. But as far as this episode goes, I did not get that feel.
Yeah. Okay. Man, she's so pretty though. Okay. All right. So that's
the music itself. Can we do that one?
Yeah.
So I thought there was something that was really good here is that Uhura has a really nice melodic voice. Mm-hmm. Like this character, this actor obviously can sing, and which was a good throwback because Nichelle Nichols had an episode of TOS where she had to actually sing. They were being forced. And so she had to, and she had a beautiful voice.
And in the
so
movies.
I thought that was a nice tie-in. And the movies, yep. So that was a really nice tie-in that, her character does have that. And I started to get a little nervous because I actually had to go back and watch it a second time because I did not like Spock harmonizing with her at first. But when you go back and watch it a second time, and so it was going to get a downvote for me, but it's not now because when you go back, you can tell he's uncomfortable and doesn't really want to do it. But La'an put him in a position where basically he has to.
Right.
And I feel like he would do it if it meant them, somehow getting out.
Right. This is a scientific exercise. This is not.
Right. But it was all a little, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's personally not for me great, but it was okay.
I mean, I like that that's how they chose to communicate with it because normally if you're going to communicate with a dead species or an AI from a completely different galaxy, it's going to take you years to understand it.
Right.
The fact that they figured out music and that's a fast track to being able to understand this thing is okay. That's like the key. That's like the language key. Oh, it's music based. Okay. Now let's figure out what tones are. The fastest way to make this happen was for it to be music based or math based, which is essentially math based.
Yes, I did have a downvote. Is it opened up yet?
No, not yet.
Did it flower up?
Yeah, no, it's opening up. Yeah. So what do you want to talk about the opening up thing?
Well, I did have a downvote, and it was that basically Lieutenant Kirk's he's going to die if they don't get him back to the ship. Mm-hmm. And so they can't figure out what to do. They're doing these melodic things, and it's apparent that she thinks that they think that it's trying to communicate with them. And so then Uhura says, "Let me try something," and then she does this humming, and then the force field's down. And this bothered me. This is actually a downvote for me.
Okay,
because there's no explanation of what she was thinking or what she did or how she knew to lower the force field by using that humming. And they kind of leave that off. I feel like I really needed to know what she tried and why she was thinking it.
Right.
Other than she just gets to do that. You know what I mean? And that was a little bit of, I didn't really like that.
Yeah. I'm going to drop a downvote there too. Cause you're right. Actually, I'm gonna let that clear out because I didn't give it enough vote for the music itself because I like the fact they use music, but I think you're right. The fact, how did she know right away what that music meant?
Right, it seemed to have come to her, but we didn't really get to see inside of that, which a little cheating to me.
Interesting thing would be like, is it just like, it means off and it means on? I don't know.
Or she could have said something like, she could have said that means off or something. So she could have said something quickly that like indicated that she had solved the problem and then tried something and it worked.
Right.
Fair.
Okay. So they get the shields down. Now what about this gamble with the shepherds? How'd you?
I have another downvote. Although I'm not sure it's really a downvote. No, go ahead and leave it up. I just thought it was kind of uncharacteristic. The Enterprise is getting jacked here pretty hard by this other ship, and they're in danger. And Pike was joking while under fire, and I just thought that was a little bit not the right tone. And I get that they make jokes and kind of the whole thing, but there are moments when if they can really destroy you, and you're they were down to 40%, I think, on, I don't know, he was just kind of joking around. I think he said some sort of joke to Spock or something. And I just thought that was a little bit out of character.
Oh yeah. Okay. But what do you think about
nitpicky, but
what do you think about the way they sort of checkmated the shepherds?
I mean, I thought that was cool. There were some good visuals. I did think that that I don't believe I've ever, he went up to Ortegas and he said, I know you think, you said you're going to be the best Starfleet pilot, to ever come out of Starfleet or whatever. You will prove it. And then she gives like a command, which you don't see. It's always the captain that gives the command maneuver. Mm-hmm. And so he basically left it up to her to do whatever maneuver she wanted to do to get him to safety, which is not typical for Star Trek. And I would actually probably give that a downvote.
Okay.
It ended up working out okay, and it was cool, and they visually showed it. that it was cool, and that was all right.
Right.
And they needed to show that character's specialty at some point. But yeah, I guess if she doesn't say it's her maneuver, I guess we don't know she's a good pilot. I've always wondered that was Star Trek. When the captain says, it gives a maneuver for them to do. I mean, does the pilot push the button and it happens? Does the pilot have to read it? We don't know the sensitivities and how that works. And
right.
You don't really get a sense that being a great pilot is happening there on the bridge of the Enterprise.
Well, maybe the maneuver is like loading their macro keys. Like maybe they have keys and the maneuver is what sort of like sets up their their controls specific to that maneuver. Because
I think so. Yeah.
I use multiple like macro devices, Stream Decks and G13s, and I have different profiles. Like I have like Photoshop and After Effects, and like I have to set it for what program I'm going to use. The controls are the same, but the buttons all change up depending on what my maneuver is.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's exactly what's happening here. And they did a good job showing it, doing some pretty incredible maneuvering. It was actually something I loved, and I can give it an upvote because they actually did make me feel like I understood what was happening during the battle, how they escaped, and it felt almost like a submarine maneuver or some sort of old TOS, the way they would have, showed escaping by going through the asteroid field and setting up on the other side, just doing these things. I thought that was good.
Yeah. Okay. So the way they played sort of chicken with, Pike realized how religious or zealot or whatever these people were about the Comet, and they sort of forced them to make a decision. Either you save us, or the Comet hits us, and we go, and the Comet goes.
I thought that was really cool too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to give this a downvote. I did not understand something. So I know that they were damaged to some degree, but they didn't look like they were crippled. They were managed to do this incredible maneuvering, get through the asteroid field, set up on the other side of the asteroid. So it didn't make sense to me why they needed rescue from the Shepherd ship.
I don't think they actually did. I think
great. So what was the decoy?
I think Enterprise was the decoy. I think that they said that they needed help because if they didn't get help, that the ship that they were going to explode or whatever, and that process was the decoy to allow Spock to slip by and do what he had to do.
Well, see, I thought that was weird. So I would tend to agree with that, although it did not look obvious. And Spock was already like attached to part of one of the floating asteroids, separated pieces when that had already occurred. He was already out. So I just didn't understand why they needed to do that.
Because they need the ship to be focused on rescuing the Enterprise so they can't go after the shuttle.
So they wouldn't notice the shuttle. Okay, I'll give that to them. I felt like it was a little. That wasn't obvious to me.
They have to tractor beam or whatever the Enterprise. They can't obviously go after the shuttle.
Well, I'm assuming they never even, because the shuttle was hiding, so they never saw the shuttle at all. They didn't know the shuttle was involved. I don't believe it didn't seem. They didn't at least say that they were aware of the shuttle. So if it was a decoy, I wanted it to be that, because that's something that I think Pike would do, or that Kirk would do, like lie to get them to do something. But then I started thinking, wait, he really need to be saved? Did the ship really need to be helped, or no?
I don't think they'd really need to be saved. I think
okay.
I think that it was a deception.
Okay.
And which is why they were so casual about it. But they also knew that it was risky, because if they saw through the deception, then they were going to blow Spock out of the sky.
Okay, so if they were able to see him, okay, so okay, that's cool.
So you want to keep your downvote there?
I am going to keep the downvote. Yeah, okay. I just felt like that wasn't very clear to me.
Yeah, it wasn't very clear, but I think I understand it. So,
okay.
All right, so Spock overloads his shields or something, whatever, and gets real hot or whatever, and it breaks up the Comet. I want
to go ahead. See, I love how you just said, like, does this,
I don't really understand
whatever,
the science
whatever.
behind this. Do you know?
Okay, there's no science, there's no explanation. Downvote here, big time. Okay, because we end up learning later that it was sublimation nudged the Comet out of course. Okay, let me tell you what sublimation is. Okay, sublimation is the process of changing from a solid to a gas without passing through an intermediate liquid phase. So
So it's when something is so hot that you go from
Yeah.
ice to gas before liquid, and it expands and creates an explosion.
Basically. Okay. Now we don't know that. The one thing that this big reason why the downvote is they send Spock off to do this thing without ever really telling us what they're going to do or giving us some sort of even an indication of what they're going to do. And then we see Spock. He's flying through the nucleus of the comet. Okay. Very odd thing as well. And he tells Pike tells the shepherd ship what he needs, the help, and while Spock's doing this. And then somehow, and we never actually see this, he nudges a piece of ice loose. Not something we ever see in the show. We see him doing a lot of flying. It looks like it's hot. It looks like something's going on. And then boom, everything's okay. That was not good. Right. They did not show us Spock successfully doing anything. It had to be explained to us later by Uhura right at the very end. And I felt like that was more telling and less showing. And so that got that downvote for me.
And what's interesting is they actually did show a healthy portion of him flying the ship. So all he had to do was pick those shots better to at least illustrate more what they explain later on. Like, so maybe they do have to explain a little bit with the sublimation and all that. Not everyone knows what that is. But actually show that, like illustrate what she says later on would have made more sense. You're right.
There was just no explanation and no way for us to know. And, I had to go back and watch it twice in order to really grasp it. And that's, and it's not a matter of just being so intelligent and so smart and so sciencey that I just didn't get it. It was really just not properly, guiding us through the story at the end.
Okay. I'm going to give that a downvote too. Yeah. Cause I glossed over it in my mind, but yeah, you're right. Cause that is a problem with current, like not just Star Trek, but a lot of TV is like they rely so much on telling you what's happening instead of showing you, and it's not really necessary. They could just show you. They could show you that process. They already showed it's not like he took off from the Comet and then the ship to do what he's got to do, and we just saw him on a tracker. No, they actually created an animation of him doing what he was doing. So illustrate that animation properly, right?
Yeah, they could have done that, or we could have had a quick little meeting, a powwow, something, Spock saying, I got an idea. I think we can dislodge part of the asteroid and create an explosion, or anything giving us that kind of idea, and then show us, so that we know what's happening, we can follow, because it kind of gets even a little more silly as we get kind of towards the end. And apparently the comet can see the future.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, I get that but that's what they say.
No, I have an idea about that. We'll get there.
Okay, well, I mean, I got to say that's kind of what it alluded to. We never really get an understanding about the AI that's happening into it, but it's not AI. It's not even AI. It's sentient.
Some kind of sentient something.
It is some sort of sentient for it to be able to pass these messages. And so, yeah, when you get to that part of Uhura, I'll try to talk more about it.
Okay. So he's successful in what he was doing. Now, this is when Spock laughs.
Yeah.
And the way, and I can't play it because we'll get claimed, but the way it came off to me was like they were all shocked that he was laughing, and he was like, sometimes when something goes so badly, you just have to laugh. I think he was not laughing. Like he purposely laughed over comms. Like he wasn't laughing to himself. Like he activated comms and laughed and then made that point. So I think it was him understanding the human expression of sometimes something goes so badly you have to laugh.
I mean, yeah, it's possible. And the laugh doesn't bother me as much because, I mean, in the original Cage in TV show, he's a very smiley, happy, laughy Spock. So, I mean, that's canon. That's, even though it's not the Spock we end up with on, the Kirk Enterprise, it's definitely a Pike Spock. So it's not that wild to have it happen. You just have to remind yourself that it's okay.
Okay. All right. So they start talking about the large quantity of water vapor from the comet. Starts hitting the atmosphere.
I really looked at that deeply because I was concerned that because they talked about the fact that the water vapor, and this is the way it was described, is that a large quantity of water vapor was released into Persephone 3. And I went like looking for it. I'm like, could one comet like change? Because Spock says it's going to change everything. Like it's going to change their vegetation. It's going to give them all this water. It's going to basically make it, the way it made it seem was more Earth-like. And so I was like thinking this is going to be a downvote because it's not going to work out. But after doing a lot more research, it is possible for a comet to give up to 10% of the liquid necessary. Like 10%, one comet could have given us 10% of our liquid on Earth, which would have been enough to change things. Now, does that mean that Persephone 3 is going to become Earth-like? No. I also went and looked up if it's possible to see if a desert planet could support an atmosphere, because I was concerned that a planet without water may not be able to have an atmosphere. But apparently, you do not need water vapor to have a human breathable atmosphere.
Right. And so that planet, from what I gather, a lot of their water comes from underground. There's not as much water. And so it's a rough place to live. But, with that comet kicking up another 10% of water, that's enough to sort of make it way more of a livable, bearable place.
Right. So I'm going to give it an upvote. Even though I was going to downvote it, I am going to upvote it because even though it seems a little bit highly unlikely, it's backed by science. And what we love with Star Trek is that they do the research, unlike some of the other shows have done, and they find out if it's truly viable. And everything that I could find showed that this, at least while being stretched kind of wildly, is at least somewhat backed by science. And so I felt like that was appropriate.
Yeah, I actually read about there was a theory that a lot of some of the water that was deposited here on Earth, and even organisms, a million years ago or whatever, came from comets.
That is the main theory of how water got to Earth, asteroids and comets. And so that's what they're doing here. They're basically making this association that these intelligent comets, these sentient brained comets, maybe they went around the universe or the solar system, seeding planets basically and making them be able to sustain life. Maybe so. This was kind of like a way to explain something that we're already talking about, is like, how did life start on Earth? And maybe this is, in Star Trek lore, maybe this is one of the ways it happens.
Yeah, there's a couple theories about like how the reason why most species are bipedal is because they came from the same preservers or whatever. Remember in Star Trek?
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's true. The water is always fascinating, and this is just a nice little different way, and it's good. It's good Trek.
It's good Trek.
It's good. It's good, interesting.
Yeah.
They get a little bit loosey goosey here with some of their explanations, which if we get there, I'll give it a downvote. But
I like how they parted as friends. They're like, next time, don't be so quick to judge or in other cultures or whatever. Which is fine.
I thought that was a nice little, and that was a great way. This is what we love about Star Trek. Even if you agree or disagree with what people do, they manage to sneak in a message, right, about judging other cultures by using an alien civilization and not our own trouble here on Earth. And that's what we love about old Trek. And that's one of the things, upvote here. Yeah, that's one of the other things that we love about Strange New Worlds. Because they're getting back to letting us learn our lessons through alien issues instead of, showcasing Earth not getting along. So
yeah, you won't be so quick to judge the faith of others. That was great, good, good. It worked, and I love this scene. I love it.
Oh, the rain.
I love this scene. I love these aliens.
That was cool.
Doesn't it? It's not good enough for an upvote, but it was cool. Plus, I already upvoted the aliens. I'm not gonna upvote them twice.
Yeah. They got your upvote. Okay.
So they're talking about the comments. How many other comments are there out there? Okay, cool idea. That that's like super Star Trek right there. Introduce an idea, and you might never pay it off, but us nerds are going to talk about it for the next 25 years.
This is true.
You know what I mean? So thank you for yet another piece of lore that doesn't hurt canon, that allows us to theorize, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the music contained this image, and so this is the interesting part. This is, I know you want a downvote here, right?
There's some stretching going on here for sure.
Okay, So I don't think that it was seeing the future. I think it was seeing the statistical. I can't say the word statistic because of my
Statistical. Uh-huh.
future. Right? This entire thing's language is based on math and music.
They
It's
should have said that though.
Okay, so let me get you in, and
Okay.
I agree with you, but it knows where it's heading, it knows what that planet needs, and it knows what help it needs and how it needs to what needs to happen exactly for this outcome to happen. If you know your exact trajectory and how much time and everything, right? A machine can 100% predict the future and what needs to happen in said future for it to be successful. Right?
Yeah,
But
I think you're right.
I think Spock should have when they were all talking about faith and all that, Spock should have been like, or it was simply mathematics.
I mean, yeah, that would have been cool, but I think they took an opportunity. They made a mistake essentially then. And so the mistake is that they had the exact, so Uhura shows the picture. It's the exact same picture, right? Which you got to explain to me how they got a picture out of math numbers, but okay.
They should have shown it. They should have shown a slightly different shape.
They didn't need to show us a shape at all. They just simply needed to say that was the mistake was they showed us a big iceberg, you know, and what they should have just said was, you know, the chunk of ice is the same chunk of ice that it said, you know, so yes, mathematically it knew which chunk of ice inside of it that needed to be knocked loose in order to move it the appropriate amount of distance. Instead of making it some sort of like it can see the future or some sort of weird like theological type of discussion, it could have simply been science.
Well, because
I think they missed an opportunity to do that.
It sent a message with the plan ahead of time. They didn't get or decipher the message appropriately at the time. The outcome was still the same. Yeah. But what if it was sending the message for that purpose? Like, yo, come help me. Come help me.
I think it was sending the message, but they just mystified it a little bit instead of just making it a science thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they could have just left it alone. They didn't need to mystify it, you know, and maybe it's a bit nitpicky, but when you take that and you add it to the fact that they didn't really show us what Spock was doing, and you add both of these things together, it just kind of makes for kind of weak storytelling going into the end.
You're right. And you could have not shown the image. You could have expressed the same information, not shown the image, and then you could have literally had Spock button it up with, or it's mathematics.
Or it's mathematics, which would have been a great way to just, you know, to put the exclamation point on Spock being Spock. And then everybody's like, all right, it's mathematics.
Yeah. So I guess that deserves a downvote, unfortunately, because it wasn't played out correctly.
And mine's a 6. So mine should have been a 6.
Oh, all right. Okay. And what we got? That's pretty much the end, right? What about this?
So they had the callback here.
Yeah. What about this conversation here?
I thought it was good. You know, I mean, it just shows the characters kind of growing together and him basically giving his approval now. It took, you know, she proved herself. Now Spock gave the approval that she could now be a part of Starfleet, which I thought was awfully presumptuous that he feels like he has that sort of authority on whether she should be in Starfleet or not. But I wasn't, you know, I'm not going to nitpick over it.
Okay. All right. So it looks like overall here.
Oh, the last scene. Yeah.
Okay. Last scene. Okay. Yeah. You're right. When he's looking at the kids or whatever. Right.
Yeah. So he shows the 4 kids, 5 kids, looks like, that he saves. It just shows that your fate is what you make it. And he's definitely contemplating, you know, what that may mean for his future. And I believe he's starting to believe that maybe he can change something that's going to happen. And it's left on that hopefulness that we like Star Trek to be left on.
Right. Yeah. Which I like. Is it worth an upvote or a downvote?
I didn't feel like it was strong enough to be an upvote or downvote, but so I'm going to stay pat where I'm at.
Okay. All right. So that buttons us up here, and looks like.
Oh, can I give an overall? I am going to give an overall upvote just for the overall show, still being light years better than anything Discovery or Picard has done in the first 6 seasons of those shows.
That's fair. Okay. So that would I'm not going to do that because I did that at the top of the show actually.
Okay.
So I gave my upvote for that exact same reason at the top. So here's the deal. That puts us at me 5, Shane 7, and I think that's an average of 6.
Yeah.
Right? Am I doing the math right? I hope I'm doing the math right.
And that we didn't really figure out how we're going to do the math, huh? Is that what it
We're
is?
just going to average out the numbers, right?
We're supposed to know how many. Well, the way it's supposed to be is like we're supposed to know how many instances of up or down voting there was, so we could figure out a percentage.
Well, when we downvote and upvote at the same time, it sort of adjusts itself.
Okay.
So we just average out the scores, and I think we average out the scores to a rock hard 6.
Yes. What does 6 mean?
I mean, it's 6.
We don't know yet. We're gonna make this a little bit more interesting. Brian spent a lot of time trying to figure this out, but I think we need one more factor. We need to know how many votes we gave in order to know whether or not to create a percentage or to create some sort of another factor.
You gave it 7 upvotes on average,
right? But
because you had downvotes and upvotes,
right? But you don't know how many votes in total there were.
I think you're overthinking it because
that's the only way to know what the how, you know, if it's a 15 scale and it was a 7, then we got to know how many votes there are. That's the only way to figure it out.
I think
what does a 6 mean? Does 6 good? Is it bad?
6 is good. It's a positive score because now.
So I see what you're saying. There's more positive votes than negatives.
Right. Okay. So listen, it's
not a negative score. Okay.
If we were reviewing Picard season 2, episode 4 right now, this would be like
around a 0,
negative 23.
Well, it probably would have been 0 or negative 1, maybe.
Okay. For me,
ups and downs.
Right. Right, sure. But there was so many downs. It would have been negative like 6 for me, I think.
Okay.
Maybe for
so
you,
you're saying there would have been a lot more. I got it.
Right. So,
okay.
as this goes on, we can go back and actually see our highest scored episodes.
Okay. So this is a 6 for both of us.
This is 6, which is not bad at all.
Popcast 6. Yeah. Okay. Positive 6. All right.
It's obviously,
so you guys heard it here first.
Yeah.
Let's go back and see what what our folks talked about here.
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff. Let's see. Oh, so they're joking about Enterprise. Danny the Dork Knight's here. He's talking about what? Enterprise? Thank God that was a joke. And then question of Trek, who doesn't love Faith of the Heart from the beginning? So, and then Norman Buckwald, Faith of the Heart, ugh. So we have some strong opinions about Enterprise's theme song still.
Yeah. Look, guys, if you like the song, that's fine. Music.
Okay, go ahead.
Music's subjective. It's subjective. So if you like that song, great. I'm happy for you.
All right.
I've got faith of heart. But I don't think it's subjective to say it's not good as the intro to a Star Trek TV show. Maybe you like the song, but it's not good as the intro.
Was it good with the visual images of all of the different Enterprises through time?
No, but see, that doesn't matter. Because
it does.
The second you apply a pop song to anything, it dates said IP as something late 90s, early 2000s.
I think that's fair.
That's why a cinematic score is a timeless thing.
I mean, I agree in that case, but I will say there is no other show that I listened to that over and over again. I enjoyed it.
Oh, goodness.
I also liked Creed and Nickelback, so you can shoot me if you want right now. So that's
everyone tell Shane about his taste here. He likes Creed and Nickelback.
I also like the Bee Gees. Come on, you can throw me under the bus right now if you want.
Yeah, Shane's like ultimate super band would be if Creed and Nickelback got together and did a song together.
I'm down for that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's torture for me. I'm sorry.
Let's see. So we've got got some good Chucky Babbitt and Offspring here. The Ainars. Mm-hmm. Talk about the Ainars and Hemner's character also being telepathic, which was important. We didn't mention because Spock sent him a telepathic thought that he was throwing the thing for him to catch. Remember?
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah, which I like that though.
That was cool. No, I liked it a lot. What if this whole series ends up being his illusion on Talos 4? Just shut up, Doomed.
No,
Don't even go there.
No.
That would, although that is something that they would do on Talos 4.
No, don't tell me that. I don't want.
No, we're not doing a Pike fever dream.
Yeah.
But that is funny.
Uh.
Let's see. Maybe Pike's death is like Spock's have been dead before. Okay. Josh Temple, did he see himself in the chair in Discovery? So he did see he lived. So yes, they screwed up again. It's possible it's a mistake, Josh. It's possible. We don't know at this point. Let's see. David went out to dinner. Hope you had a great dinner, David.
What's up, Dark Knight? How you doing, bro?
Okay, Salty Trekker says she should not be. That's Michael. Michael's been, we just want to point out also that the Salty Trekker, Michael has been working with us. He's going to be doing some stuff with us in the future, which is going to be fun. And he says here, she should not be a cadet at all. She should be a midshipman. And I got to tell you, Michael, as a prior Navy guy, that's exactly what they were called, midshipmen.
Where are you seeing that?
And it's a comment up here.
Oh.
And that would be great if they use that term, but unfortunately, I don't know if Starfleet has actually adopted the Navy terminology.
No, they should have.
Let's see. Spock's a player. Yep, we learned that.
A straight thug.
Okay. Offspring, they had the old communicator from TOS in Discovery. They did. You're right.
Kenneth said, who, the Bee Gees?
So Trek Reviewer says, have they given Hemner a proper rank yet? I didn't notice that in this episode.
Yeah, neither did I.
He was wearing a Starfleet uniform, but I didn't catch his rank. If you know his rank, let us know here. Oh, they look like this. Okay, so he's talking about the Shepherds here. Windgrace says they looked like the Stargate universe aliens with a beard, which is funny because I thought they looked like Thor's aliens.
Asgard.
The Asgards. Yeah. I thought they looked like the Asgards with beards. That's funny.
They looked a little bit like Asgard with beards, for sure.
John Burns, doesn't Spock with a beard make him look evil? Hey, that's Mirror Universe Spock, right?
Yeah, that means in Discovery, he was the evil Spock.
So there's all kinds of really good comments in here. We appreciate you guys bringing them up. Let's see.
Here's the deal, boys.
Okay, that's the end of the review.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much for sticking around for the review. We're going to get into some more news here. If you have anything to say about the review, what did you think about the show? What did you think about, what do you think so far about the show in general? But specifically, what did you think about this episode? Did you like it? Did you agree with us? Did you disagree with us? Are we crazy? Is Shane doing way too much work trying to find out how comets work? Let us know in the comment section down below.